So E3 this year was, yeah, it was pretty good. Wasn't as good as last year, but still a hell of a lot better than 2016 and 2017's E3. We got a lot of stuff this year. It'll probably take a while to go over it all. So this will be a long video. Grab your popcorn. Let's get into it and start off, shall we? So starting off with EA. EA did their thing at E3 this year. Their presentation wasn't absolutely fucking garbage like it was last year. It was okay. Probably the biggest news from them is the gameplay trailer for the new Star Wars game, Jedi Fallen Order, which actually looks really good. With the lightsaber combat, new format and everything, it looks a lot. Like from the gameplay I saw, it reminds me a lot of The Force Unleashed. I wouldn't get my hopes up though. This is EA we're talking about. I made the mistake of getting my hopes up with Battlefront, and look how that turned out. You know, it looks so good. It looks good so far though. We also got news on FIFA 20. You can probably guess how much I care about that. Apex Legends got some expansive stuff. Glad to know EA and Respawn didn't completely forget it exists. Apex is good, even if it'll never satisfy me. Classify it as a Titanfall game. It'll get a season 2 like Fortnite, where like Fortnite got a new season every fucking month or so. They had a new season, which is a lot like doing daily uploads on YouTube. Seriously, don't try that. It'll make you miserable. Madden NFL 20 got some information, which I honestly care about even less than FIFA at this point. And last but not least, we got new maps for Battlefield 5. I really don't care, since I didn't buy Battlefield 5, and I won't. Overall, EA's presentation was okay. It was kind of in the middle. It was fine. I guess I really didn't care. Ubisoft. So Watch Dogs 3 is happening. And it looks interesting. You can be a grandma, which has only ever happened when you can play as Aunt May in Lego Marvel Superheroes. But the interesting thing, and honestly, judging by other things, I doubt this will work. But judging by like other games that have tried this, I don't know how, or something like this, I don't know how well this will work. Apparently, it takes place in London, and you're able to take control of any NPC in the game to help take back London, in a sense. Which honestly, it seems interesting. I might, like, again, it's Ubisoft, and I would have to wait to hear more about it. A nice new adventure game called Gods and Monsters is coming, which at first glance reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus a little bit. Uplay Plus is a thing now. Basically, Ubisoft's version of EA Access, where they have different games that you can get for free with a subscription to their network. By far the most surprising thing that came out of Ubisoft's conference was the new Rainbow Six game set to come out next year. Honestly, that probably surprised me the most out of anything at E3, other than Breath of the Wild apparently getting a sequel, which we will get to. It's supposed to be a 3v3 multiplayer FPS that comes out early into 2020. Just Dance is still here. It's still here. It didn't fuck off 6 years ago. It's also being released on the Wii, not the Switch, not the Wii U, just the classic Wii. A console 2 generations outdated now. A Tom Clancy mobile game is coming out. Okay then. The Division 2 is going free to play for a few days before it goes back to being $60. This one's actually really interesting, which is all the more weird because this next one is all the more interesting to me, which is all the more weird because I hate the franchise. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey is getting a story creator where players can make their own story with branching paths and dialogue. It makes me wonder how it's all going to work out. But again, this is Ubisoft we're talking about. You can only hope for so much in certain situations. Now let's go to Microsoft. So Microsoft did a lot of shit at E3 this year. A lot. To start off with the biggest news, Xbox Project Scarlet, the next Xbox console, like the next-gen Xbox console, will launch holidays 2020, and Halo Infinite will launch alongside it. Also, speaking of Halo Infinite, a new trailer for it was dropped at E3, revealing a lot more about the story, which actually seems pretty interesting. I'll let you check out the trailer for yourself, but it does seem really interesting. It gave me a loud sense of nostalgia. But let's talk about Project Scarlet for a second, and what they mentioned about it. They said a lot about what Sony... what they said a lot reminded me... a lot of what they said reminded me of what Sony said about the PS5. That it's going to focus on reducing load times. There will be a hard drive used as a virtual RAM to cut down load times. If you're lost through all this, trust me, I am too. I'm just as lost as you. Also, Keanu fucking Reeves, the guy from The Matrix and John Wick, and now the world's greatest human. He came out to talk about Cyberpunk 2077, which now has an official release date for April 16th, 2020. Oddly, not in 2077. And honestly, I think this was like the best moment of the whole show. Everyone really got a chuckle out of this. When he said, "Oh yeah, like Cyberpunk is gonna be breathtaking," and then some random audience member shouts, "You're breathtaking!" And then Keanu Reeves is like, "You're all breathtaking." I really laughed hard at that. Just makes me all the more sad that Sony wasn't there this year. Just imagine what we could have gotten from them. We also got developer known as Double Fine Productions forming a new partnership with Microsoft. Then they talked about console streaming, which sounded a lot like Xbox Play Anywhere. Xbox Play Anywhere. And they talked about Gears 5. No, not Gears of War 5, just Gears 5. It honestly seemed incredibly interesting. It's supposed to be Xbox's big exclusive this year, arriving on September 10th, 2019. Which probably explains why Halo Infinite isn't coming out until next year. Well, that and the fact that 343 is taking their time with it, which is good. They announced a new series of Elite controllers. I never had an Elite controller. A game called Elden Ring was announced, and it's being worked on by From Software, Miyazaki, and George R.R. Martin, one of the writers from Game of Thrones, so that'll be really cool. A Dragon Ball action RPG is coming out next year. We also finally got a release date for The Outer Worlds, which apparently it's coming out just a couple days before my birthday. The next one I've been waiting for. This next game, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, comes out in February 2020. After last year's at E3, I went out and got the original and played through it. It's so good. I recommend it to anyone. Even if you're not a platformer person, like, you need to play it. It's so good. Minecraft is getting some sort of spin-off, like Diablo rip-off. That'll work wonders for the brand. We got more Jedi Fallen Order gameplay. A fucking Blair Witch game is coming out. Age of Empires 2 is getting remastered. Lego Cars are coming to Forza Horizon 4. Another Lego Star Wars game. Dying Light 2, Wasteland 3, then a lot of stuff is coming to the Xbox Game Pass subscription service. All hell is breaking loose right now. And that same service, Xbox Game Pass, is coming to PC. Games like Batman Arkham Knight, Metro Exodus, and Borderlands arrived on Game Pass already. I'm just glad Microsoft showed PC gaming just as much, if not more, love this year than they did Xbox. It's nice to see them balancing themselves. Bethesda's E3 conference this year was so standard that I can't even put it into words. How far down Bethesda has fallen in the past year alone honestly baffles me. Last year at E3 they were one of the best parts of the show. This year they're the most safe, generic, and more or less boring. It's kind of like what Ubisoft did last year. They just kind of went out and did their thing. Nothing extra. They talked about Fallout 76 being taken in a more traditional direction, and then they announced right after they announced Battle Royale for it, and some fucking people started clapping. One of the people from Tango Gameworks came out and did a thing and announced that they're working on a new game called Ghostwire Tokyo. Bethesda announced Fallout 76 is going free for a week. And then we got some gameplay for Doom Eternal, which honestly is the best thing to come out of this conference. Bethesda fucking sucked this year. Okay, let's talk about Square Enix. So Square Enix did some stuff this year. They didn't just drop 50 Kingdom Hearts 3 trailers on our heads. We got news on that Avengers game, which will have all the more attention now, considering the success of the MCU and Endgame. It comes out on May 15th, 2020, so almost a year from now. They got both Troy Baker and Nolan North, the two best voice actors in the world, to voice act characters for this game. At this point, I'm just at the moment wondering what kind of game it is. If it's like Insomniac's Spider-Man game from last year, although I highly doubt that, or if it's like the old Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. That would be cool, even though I was never a huge Ultimate Alliance fan. Or if it's something really nice and innovative like we've never seen before. That would be crazy depending on how good the idea is. We're getting more and more news on the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it'll be episodic, the first part shipping on the 3rd of March next year. An old Super Nintendo game called Romancing Saga is leaving Japan. Then, this is an interesting one. Outsiders is a new shooter IP from Square Enix and People Can Fly, and it comes out in summer 2020. Cool, we get another shooter game. That's as specific as it gets. Kingdom Hearts 3 is getting a DLC this winter. And yeah, that's Square Enix, really. Alright, it's now time for the main event of this short as hell E3. Nintendo. Nintendo was honestly the saving grace this year. The first thing is one hell of a story. We're getting a sequel to Breath of the Wild, which seems really cool. Obviously, it'll take Nintendo a while to develop it, probably a couple years before it comes out. We didn't get much more than a brief teaser trailer. Either way, I'm fucking excited because Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite games of all time. Banjo and Kazooie and then Dragon Quest characters are coming to Smash Ultimate as DLC. That'll be fun. The next game in the Animal Crossing franchise has been delayed to March 2020. Then we got the official release date for the remake to Link's Awakening, which is on September 20th. Then we finally got some more details on Luigi's Mansion 3. I like the fact it'll have online and couch co-op. I don't know about online when it comes to the Switch, if Smash Ultimate and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe are anything to go by. A Pokeball controller will be available for the next Pokemon game, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Also, The Witcher 3 is coming to the Switch, which could either turn out really well because of how great the game is, but I wouldn't at all be surprised if it becomes Doom 2016 on the Switch. More Switch ports, Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. Fuck both those games, especially 6, but okay. Alien Isolation and Spyro Reignited Trilogy are coming to the Switch. And yeah, so that was E3 2019. It was pretty good. It wasn't as good as last year, but it's still sort of a step in the right direction. Nintendo quite obviously won the whole thing with all their announcements. I don't know if it it wasn't as good as last year's E3 where exciting stuff was passing through left, right, and center and Sony was actually there. Honestly, Sony not being there at E3 this year kind of disappointed not just me, but like anyone, especially considering how good they were last year with stuff like Marvel's Spider-Man and The Last of Us 2 and Death Stranding and other things. But it's okay. It was okay. Not as good as 2018. Still way better than 2017 and 2016. I think E3 is heading in the right direction at the moment, even if not every year tops the last. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.